Now the next thing we'll need in the scene is some rocks. So let's model some. We'll actually model 2 rocks, so we have some variation there. And about rocks modeling, it can be sometimes really tricky, and the best way to approach that is actually to look at some rocks. So basically, when you're planning to model some, go online, Google some rocks, look at all the different types and sizes and how they are shaped. Pick one and try to recreate it, so you have some pretty good approximation how the rock would actually look like in the context and in the environment you're trying to recreate. Let's start with the cube. So let's press Shift A and to add a new object and click cube. Now we can tab right into it to enter edit mode, and let's slice it up a little bit. We'll do some loop cuts. I want to slice it on the Y and X axis, so press Ctrl R to make a loop cut and do one here. You can press escape to leave it at the middle and do another one here. Press escape and it's ready. Now we'll press A to select all and scale the whole cube on a Z axis, so while still in edit mode. So let's press S and Z to lock it on the Z axis and scale it down a little bit, just like this. Okay, now I want to make this rock a little bit more interesting, so let's go to the face select. You can switch it here or with 1, 2 and 3. So let's press 3 to face select and select this one up on the top, an additional 2 here, and we'll extrude them. So press E to extrude and drag them up a little bit. Okay, we'll need to go back to the vertex select, so press 1. And for the shaping of the rock, we will use proportional editing again. So you can find the icon here, or you can press O to just enable it. And right now we will select some random vertices around the surface. So for example, this one. Press G, and without locking it, we will just drag it out a little bit. Now rotate with the middle mouse button. Select another one and drag it out too. And we can repeat this along the whole surface. And press this one. Remember, we are rotating with the middle mouse button. Left click to select, G to drag, and drag it out. And remember, you can always use the mouse button while dragging to adjust the fall off of the proportional editing. Okay, so we have something like this. We can continue the shaping of the rock by dragging some other vertices. So for example, you can select the top one here and drag it up a little bit, and you can select this here and drag it. Let's make the proportional fall off smaller and just make some adjustments. Remember, this doesn't have to be perfect. You are shaping an natural object, so no rules here. And yeah, basically the most important thing is the reference, to have the approximate idea how the rock should look like. And one other thing you can use here is to use the edge slide that I shown you on the tree modeling, where you select the vert and press G twice. If you do this, you can see the proportional editing doesn't work, and that's fine. That's how it should work. So yeah, and we can just slide these around, maybe this one a little bit here. Let me drag it let's turn off the proportional editing with O, press G, Shift Z to lock it, and drag it on the X and Y axis a little bit here, so it's not that steep, and adjust a little bit. Yeah, so you can play with this for a pretty long time, and if you're satisfied with the shape, which I'm starting to think that this is quite nice, and we can use this as a rock, then you can do one other trick, and that's to use bevel. And bevel tool is located right here in the toolbar, and it creates additional geometry around the edge or face you want to bevel. Let me show you how this works. When we switch with the 3 to the face select, I select the face, and I can use the bevel here to just drag it out and do some additional geometry here. Or you can press 2, select just one edge, and bevel that one. But you can use this for vertex too. So if you switch back to the vertex select with 1 and select random vertex, you press Ctrl B, which is a shortcut for bevel tool, but you see that nothing happens, and you have to additionally enable the vertex mode for the bevel. And there are several ways how to do that. If you were to use the bevel tool and try to drag it out, then release, you can see there is a contextual bevel menu here, and there is a checkbox saying vertex only, and if you select that, you enable that. But you didn't see how much you actually beveled, so you need to adjust the size here. And again, this is quite tedious, and there is a much better way how to do this. So let's just go back with Ctrl Z, and I will use the shortcut Ctrl B, and then press V to enable this vertex bevel. And I can adjust the size with the mouse as I want, and now click to confirm, and I have a nice bevel. Yeah, and I like to use these bevels on the objects like the rocks or cliffs or something like that, because you can always just press Ctrl B, V, and make a nice bevel. But beware, sometimes this creates a distorted geometry. The vertex that is pointing out of the geometry is a good example, because you can do bevel with no problem there. So that's just something to keep in mind. But we can go a little bit crazy here. Yeah, this is another example. You see how it appears that the face is actually tilted here, but when you look from this side, there is an invisible edge here that breaks up the new geometry. So let's create some more of these. So we have some interesting rock geometry here. It's always just pressing Ctrl B then V and dragging it out. Okay, now if you tab out, let's maybe GG this one, G and G to edge slide. And if you tab out, I think this is pretty nice rock. Maybe we can bevel this one too. Yeah, so this is how you create some basic low poly rock. Now let's rename this object to rock. And we can G and X to move it a little bit away, and let's create another one. Let's press Shift A and click cube to create a new cube. Tab in to enter edit mode. We want to do 2 cuts this time, So adjust the number of cuts with the mouse wheel after you press Ctrl R, confirm, and then again Ctrl R, adjust the number and confirm with the left click, and you can cancel the positioning with the escape. And let's scale this down. So let's press S and then Z to scale it on the Z axis. And go to the face select again. This will be very similar to the method we used to create the first one. So with holding shift, left click these faces, press E to extrude them. And then let's just press the top one, E to extrude. And then again, if you go into the vertex select by pressing 1, you can select basically more vertices at once. And just scale it up. Maybe we can go to the face select by pressing 3 and scale this down. And again, right now it's just about shaping the rock. So select the vertices and you can edge slide by pressing G twice, or you can use G to grab them, or you can press O to enable proportional editing and just drag them around. Yeah, we can drag some of these down on the edge. Okay, and now the last part, we can do some of those bevels. So left click some vertex, Ctrl B, and then V to enable vertex mode. And just go crazy a little bit. You can create some of these bevels here and there. But it's a good habit to... Now, this is the good example of the distorted polygon. This wouldn't work so much, so I will cancel that and I will create these bevels elsewhere. And remember to do these things in moderate amount, because if you would bevel every vertex, it would lose some of its interesting nature on the object, and basically it would become uniform. So you want to avoid going overboard with these bevels. Yeah, okay, I think there's another nice rock. We can tab out to cancel edit mode, and again, let's name this rock. And we don't have to add any number or something like that, just write rock and enter, and you can see the Blender automatically renames the object and gives it a suffix with the number. So this is quite useful. You can always name the object of the same type with just the name, and Blender adds the numbers automatically. We can now hide these rocks in the outline view. Don't forget to save and continue to the next chapter.